Hi, it's Rick from Forward Community, creating community spaces so you can connect with others and also with God. When I was, say, about 18, I think, maybe 18, I'm on my 10 speed and thinking that I'm the coolest guy in the world because I loved my bicycle. And I rode from where my house was in the east end of Toronto, and I rode it up to the very northeast end of Toronto, just before, close to Pickering anyways, close to where Metro Toronto Zoo is. And I went across Old Finch, which is no big deal if you're not from the area, but here's why, geographically speaking, this is going to make some sense here. In behind the Toronto Zoo are some massive hills. And when I was around 18, on my bicycle, I really loved going up those massive hills because it gave me a really great leg workout. Now, these days, if I took my bicycle up there, I might have a heart attack. But back then, I really loved those massive hills. But when I got to the top, the beauty of it was I could turn around on my bicycle and I could go back down the hills. So the very first time I attempted to go back down, I pedaled as fast as I possibly could on the flat. And so I was already going as fast as I could when I reached the apex of the hill. And I'm coming down the bottom of it already as fast as I can go. And now my bike starts to pick up speed, and I can't pedal as fast as the bike is going, and it's continuing to pick up speed. And as I'm going down the hill, I felt my body lifting up from the seat, as though my bicycle and I were having this momentary separation. We had a divorce right there on the spot, and I was free falling, and my bike was free falling with me. That's the feeling that I got. And in that moment, when it felt like I was free falling through the air, I felt the freedom of that, the exhilaration of that. In my heart, in the deepest part of my being, I committed to myself that I was going to get a motorcycle because I loved it. I wanted all of that thrill of feeling like I was flying without all of the work of actually pedaling. So here's what I did. Shortly after that, within a couple of weeks after that moment, I was already living the dream. I am going to be this guy that rides a motorcycle. So there was this shop, this store that was closing down. I went into it and I bought myself a pair of motorcycle gloves, and they were dirt cheap. They were like usually, I don't know, 30 bucks at the time, and I got them for $5. So I bought them for $5, put them on my dresser, and I said to myself, I am going to be riding a motorcycle every single day until I was 23. I'm living my life knowing that one day I'm going to ride a motorcycle. And thankfully, by the time I hit 23, I finally rode a motorcycle. I owned one, and I got my motorcycle license, and it was awesome. Now, I have a question for you, okay? Based on that little illustration I gave you, that little real story, I have a question for you. Have you ever had a dream that you wanted so badly that you did things as though it were already true? You're just living it out until it actually becomes real. If you're watching this video with someone, take a moment, pause the video, share that story with the people that you're with, or just get in your head that moment in your life that you remember you wanted something so badly that you were living like it had already happened. That, my friends, is called faith. That's what faith is. It's believing in something that's unseen as though it's a reality right now. It's the substance of what we hope for, is what the Bible might say in the book of Hebrews. Okay, so this week during my personal devotions time, I'm hanging out with the Bible. I'm trying to connect with God. I bumped into a text this week, Philippians 3:17-21, and that's going to be our text today. There's something that I really, really want to share, particularly right now as we're transitioning into 2021. I think that we can work on living this dream until it actually gets fulfilled. The passage we're about to look at together points ahead to the day where Jesus is coming back. And when he does, the same power that he uses to bring the entire world under control is going to be the power that he uses to raise you from the dead into the new kind of humanity. Whatever Jesus' humanity looks like right now, that's the kind of humanity that we're going to be. So I read through this passage and I used my devotional tool that I really love to use. I really love to use the inductive study tool. While I'm making my own comments through my own devotional journey, I thought to myself, wow, 2020 really sucked. You know, I didn't put insurance on my bike this year because I was locked in with my kids, and I loved being locked in with my kids. It was awesome, but I also missed riding my bike. I didn't take the family out camping this year like we love to go camping in our tent trailer. No family trips, and that was mostly because of the lockdown. There were no bathrooms available in between where we lived and where we wanted to go camping. We couldn't celebrate birthdays like we usually did. 2020 was not the greatest year in the world, right? And maybe for the first time in a while, I was really, really, really looking forward to that moment when Jesus would come back, because 2020 really sucked. I'm like, Jesus, take us now, because this is a horrible experience, right? Okay, but something else hit me too. I noticed that even though my surroundings may have sucked, for all of us as we're locked in and the situation seems to be out of our control, I personally don't have to be out of control. You personally don't have to be out of control. Even though our surroundings suck, I don't have to suck. You don't have to suck. I still have the agency or the willpower, the self-efficacy to affect my own life so that I don't have to be declining in the middle of decline. I can be excelling in the middle of the decline around me. That's true for all of us, and that's what really hit me in the text that we're just about to look at. Jesus doesn't judge us or reward us based on our circumstance. He doesn't judge us or reward us based on what's going on around you. Some of us are born into poverty. Some of us are born into abuse. Some of us are born into oppression. Jesus doesn't judge us based on what we're born into or the working environment or the family environment that we find ourselves in. He judges or rewards us based on our own agency. For example, what did we do with the choices that were available to us to grow our friendship with Jesus and get ready for his return? Because at the end of the day, that's the really, really big thing that we're anticipating, and that's the thing that really, really matters. Jesus is coming back. He's coming back for you. In spite of your circumstances, you've chosen to follow Jesus and work on your friendship with him. Or you have not yet chosen, maybe you're investigating this, maybe you're trying to figure stuff out. He's coming back to give you what you want, what you're investing in. If you're investing in a great relationship with God because you want a great post-second coming life, he's coming back to give that to you. So this really encouraged me as I was trying to get my head into thinking about 2021 and trying to forget what 2020 was. And I'm thinking that this may help you too. All of your choices, even the small ones, they really, really matter to Jesus. In both the small and the big ways, when you make a choice to continue to grow with Jesus, or initially start growing with Jesus, you're investing in your future and making your life post-second coming really awesome. So here's what I have for you today. Rather than planning for a great 2021, because planning for 2020 didn't really work so well. 2020 basically said, oh, you made some plans? I'm going to slap you in the face with all your plans and say, no, okay? So rather than planning for a great 2021, let's start planning for a great post-second coming reality. Philippians chapter 3, 17 to 21. Dear brothers and sisters, pattern your lives after mine and learn from those who will follow our example. For I have told you often before, and I say it again with tears in my eyes, that there are many whose conduct shows they are really enemies of the cross of Christ. They're headed for destruction. Their God is their appetite. They brag about shameful things and they think only about this life here on earth. But we are citizens of heaven where the Lord Jesus Christ lives, and we are eagerly awaiting for him to return as our Savior. He will take our weak mortal bodies and change them into glorious bodies like his own, using the same power with which he will bring everything under his control. Hey kids, while you're watching this with your parents, please keep an eye on the background for all the characters hidden in there and let us know who you see this week. And also please remember to watch this week's video on Connect HQ. Here's the point that I'm going to try to make to you today, okay? What I'm going to try to encourage you to do. Would you please plan for a great post-second coming life? That's my interpretation of this passage, what I think this passage is trying to share with us today. Jesus is coming back, and he's coming back for you. He's coming because he loves you. He's coming because he wants stuff like 2020 to stop happening. So here's what you can do to help prepare for a great post-second coming life. Would you please use your choices to invest in eternity? Again, the text says, here are many whose conduct shows they're really enemies of the cross of Christ. And then later on it says, but we're citizens of heaven where the Lord Jesus Christ lives. Our choices are kind of like money. They're kind of like investing money. Let me give you an example of this. My kids receive money on Christmases and birthdays from like people like grandpa or other people in our family. And the deal that I have come up with the kids, that if they keep all that money instead of spending it, and if they save it until they're double digits, until they're 10 years old, they get to buy their own iPad with that money. Save the money, buy the iPad, and I'll make the difference by the time they get to 10. And I've got 4 kids. So far, the first 3 have done that. Choices are like that, just like money. They're moments of investment. I can choose to invest relationally in you, and then I'll return that investment by having a good relationship with you, and you will treat me nicely. Or I can choose to treat you with lots of grumpiness, and then in turn and in kind, you will also treat me with grumpiness. We create the system that we're a part of. We create the environment that we're a part of right now based on our choices. We are going to create that reality that we will live in post second coming by the choices that we make to invest in our friendship with Jesus right now. Our choices are like investing money. We're going to get back what we choose to invest our choices in. Here's what this has to do with you, particularly you in 2021. 2020 really sucked, and I'm happy that 2021 is here. However, the outcome of 2020 wasn't fully out of my control and your control. Regardless of what happened in the world and around us, we could still control what happened inside of us and what happened between us and Jesus. The choices that we make, the way that we treat people, the way that we treat God can be like an investment into our eternity. When we make choices to grow our relationship with Jesus, we know that we're going to cash in on a great post-second coming lifestyle. The text also says, he will take our weak mortal bodies and change them into glorious bodies like his own, using the same power with which he will bring everything under his control. The big reality is, Jesus is going to come back. The point of most of what the Bible has to say about how we live is that the purpose of our behavior is to invest in the return of Jesus and help others as well to invest in the return of Jesus and what comes after that. So the point is, we live now like we're already there in the future. Let me talk about Elon Musk just for a minute, okay? Like, I don't know a lot about the guy, but I know that he's living as though the future is right now. You know, he's got this mindset about him that the world is going to run out of resources, this planet Earth, and one day we will have to transport off of this planet and move to a different planet, and that will be our new home. And so he's investing his life to prepare us to be living on Mars because he sees this world running out of resources, and he knows that we're going to have to move to Mars. I'm not sure I'm following all of what he has to say. However, I love how he's living his life, how committed he is to his dream. He's living right now that future that he's envisioning is a reality by building these rockets that can go up and come back down, and building these huge space buses. He's got these ideas about how to terraform Mars. He's living as though the future is right now. That is what faith is. He's building his future by living the reality of that future right now, and that's what I'm calling on us to do. That's what I think the text is calling on us to do. In faith, because we know that Jesus is coming back, we don't live like 2021 is the boss of us, whatever it has to bring our way. We don't have to worry about 2021 getting worse or better. We don't have to worry about all the things that are not in our control, because for a part of this, it doesn't matter. What matters is our choice to grow our friendship with Jesus and live right now like the second coming is really actually happening. We live right now as though the future is right now, and we base our choices on as though we're building that future that we have, that future lifestyle we have in the post-second coming reality, whatever that's going to look like. God willing, 2021 is going to be far better than 2020 was. God willing, the vaccine is going to be effective, cases are going to drop, and we're going to have a handle on this thing, God willing. But if that doesn't happen, you are not out of hope, and you are not fully without control. Continue to lean into Jesus. Continue to discover what it means to follow him. Every choice you make, it can be an investment into your eternity. Or you could be just investing into this world, which, by the way, is out of control and it looks like it's fading away, like Elon Musk thinks it probably is, okay? But every single moment is a moment that you and I can choose to invest in what our life will look like post-second coming. You can have an awesome post-second coming as this friendship that you have with Jesus right now will carry on forever. Or you can choose to just invest in this whatever this fading moment that is right now that we're living through. Okay, so that's my opinion on this passage, and I really hope you have a different opinion on this passage, because I would love to dialogue about this. This week, if you'd like to join us on Zoom, we're going to be talking about this passage, the second coming, some of our plans for 2021, and how we can make the most of 2021, even if 2021 looks a little like 2020. If you don't have a place you're already connecting with, would you please connect with For Community? We're a community that's meeting online right now using Zoom a lot. Please consider joining us at For Community. That's it from me to you for now. For Community. Create community spaces that you can connect with others and also with God. Happy New Year, and thank God 2020 is over.